What's up, everyone? David Bozell here with For America. Wanted to talk about this Kamala Harris. Excuse me. Vice President Kamala Harris. Let's show some respect for the Vice President. Her interview with Chuck Todd on Meet the Press. And it's gone, you've probably heard it by now. She says we have a secure border. Now look, what do the Republicans do about this border? You have 2 million people crossing it. It's not for lack of money. Border security operations have plenty of money. Could they use better tech? Sure. Could they use more people? Sure. But those things are going to take some time. What you need is a change in policy. All right, everybody understands that. You need to turn away people. You need to be public about your intention to turn away people. How do Republicans force this issue? If and when they, I should say if with a big capital if, but I think they will win the House. But again, the Republicans have the power over the purse. They control the purse strings. They control the money. So you're going to have to force a policy change by defunding something, and you're going to get criticized. Oh, it's not germane to the problem, etc. Who cares? You got to do it. This is a humanitarian crisis of the administration is making. There was a guy on Fox today. He runs a nonprofit that cleans up the border, cleans up the trash around the border. He said the border resembles a landfill. And I was there when March. It's true. Just trails of trash. And a lot of it's because the crossers are coming across the Rio Grande, and they don't have the same sort of sanitary measures as we do with regards to human waste. So there are human waste facilities across the Rio Grande on the Mexico side, and things just get dumped into the river. You're crossing through duty water to get here. So there's pictures of people just taking their clothes off and leaving shoes and stuff. Yeah, it is because they're wet, but it's also because they're all filled with duty, unfortunately. But Kamala, being the bright one that she is, she's declared that the border is secure. Now, she doesn't even understand how dumb she really sounds here, so let's just run it. Here's Chuck Todd yesterday.
Would you call the border secure?
I think that there is no question that we have to do what the President and I asked Congress to do. Is the first request we made.
So she declares she doesn't answer the question right out of the blocks, and she just decides to repeat the first request that the administration made when they got here was to do amnesty reform. That may or may not be true, but she reminds us of this.
Pass a bill to create a pathway to citizenship. The border is secure, but we also have a broken immigration system, in particular over the last 4 years before we came in, and it needs to be fixed.
We're going to have 2 million people cross this border for the first time ever. You're confident this border is secure?
We have a secure border, and that is a priority for any nation, including ours and our administration.
I don't know what that means.
But there are still a lot of secure border, and that is a priority for any nation, including ours and our administration. But there are still a lot of problems that we are trying to fix, given the deterioration that happened over the last 4 years. We also...
Mind you, she's the border czar, okay? Remember that? She's in charge of the border, so she should know about all these things. And she blames Trump, and she calls it a deterioration, even though she gives no specifics as to what that might mean.
Have to put in place a law and a plan for a pathway for citizenship for the millions of people who are here and are prepared to do what is legally required to gain citizenship. We don't.
She's so stupid. She says we have to put in place a plan to do for the millions of people that are here for them to legally attain citizenship. There is it's you can go through that process, and you can go through that process legally. You may have to pay some fines. You may have, that may be the legal thing. You may have to pass a civil service exam. You may have to wait a certain amount of time. But there already is a path for you to take. She just wants a quicker path. She just wants amnesty is what she wants.
Don't have that in place because people are playing politics in a state like this and in Congress. By the way, you want to talk about bipartisanship on an issue that at one time was a bipartisan issue, both in terms of Republican senators and even presidents.
I don't know. I guess she's saying that she's referring to a Gang of Eight or something, that back in the day they wanted to do amnesty and the country said no thank you and they pulled it. Look, at the end of the day, look, it's as if she just showed up on Earth and said, oh, there's a border, oh, there's a problem. But putting Harris aside for a second, at the end of the day, the Republicans, when they take control of the House, have to get serious and declare war on the border, declare war on the Biden administration's policies on the border. Okay, and it's not a function of money per se, but you're going to have to hold another Biden spending priority hostage in order to get him to change course. Because the federal government does have operational responsibility over the border. The cartels have operational control. But the federal government has the responsibility. But Congress can force the federal government to perform those duties, but you're going to have to get creative. And you're going to have to withhold some funding in another direction. I would nominate the IRS bill and put that up at the top of that list. By the way, kudos to Rick Scott, Senator Rick Scott from Florida, who is pulling no punches and is not going to be intimidated by the likes of McConnell. He actually put on the floor of the United States Senate last week a unanimous consent request to dismantle the IRS bill. Of course, that failed because he doesn't have the numbers, but still, that's a hell of a good start. It's that kind of thing that the Republicans are going to have to do on the House side, but when they have the numbers, they're going to have to execute. There's only so many swings, so many at-bats that these guys are going to get and be given by the base to shrink the role of the federal government, to get the federal government off the backs of the American people. There's only so many at-bats that the country is willing to give you. And you're struggling right now to differentiate yourself, and you're looking across, because I know how these guys work. They're looking across the landscape like, oh, man, the gas prices are going down. Ooh, what do we do? And they don't know what to do. But the solution is right there in front of them. You have to be the party for parents. And that entails quality of life issues, crime, immigration, the funding of the federal government. You have to means test the federal government. You have to commit to the American taxpayer that you're not going to waste their money anymore on things that don't work. You do those two things, and then gutting the administrative state and decreasing significantly the power of this bureaucracy. Be the party for parents, run against Washington, and you'll do fine. And if you can't beat this kind of stupidity with Vice President Harris, claiming that the border's secure when there's 2 million people and every day it's just hundreds if not thousands of people crossing it, leaving trash, dead bodies, drugs, everything. If you can't beat that, I don't know. I'm not sure I have much confidence in your ability to beat much of anything. But again, I'm an optimistic guy. I think the House will be solidly Republican, probably in the 235 range. I'm about willing to call my shot here on this. 234 to 237 will be the Republican number. And in the Senate, I say 51. Not sure which states yet. I know which states, but we'll save that for another show. All right, listen, pay no attention to Kamala Harris other than making fun of her. Because as the borders are, has she been there? I don't think so. But when the Republican member of Congress or candidate comes and asks for your vote, demand that they tell you what it is that they're going to do to secure this border for real. Okay, over and out. You guys take it easy. Thank you.